Hello and welcome to another video. This one is on spelling. The format of my videos are generally for tablet and laptops and desktops because I follow a script, and so you can follow along with me. Numerals and digits are ideograms in that they don't represent the sounds of the words. Chinese, Japanese, and Korean characters are ideograms. The idea that English spelling can be learned as if these series of letters are just simply an ideogram, and this can be exemplified with 5-letter words. In literary works, authors will sometimes spell words to recreate the way the characters will have sounded when speaking. While some contractions based on elision or ellipsis fell into standard usage, like our common cannot to can't, others don't. Now, the word not, we should say here, is a strong word in English. It's used for emphasis and rhythm, and so it generally gets contracted to N''T. Similarly, though we write ice cream without a D, when it should in fact be iced cream, just as iced tea is spelled with a D, somehow the D got elided, and in some cases we do change the spelling, and in other cases they die hard, they stay the same. Basically, some things stick and become trendy, while others take more time for us to change this. What do you think? Should we write kinda, sorta, gimme, gonna, wanna in standard writing or not? Leave me a comment below. I have a hunch that it may have something to do with what I shall call the 5-letter words phenomenon. Basically, such words are actually common, most likely because they produce the same memorable effect, much the same as ideograms serve to imprint a concept through an image. Having said that, it would also seem that 5-letter words seem to be working that way, except that the same ones seem to be less frequently used by non-native speakers of English, interestingly. By that I mean they seem to escape retention more readily than other words of a different number of letters. Perhaps mostly when they are adjectives. We're going to look at that further down. This would certainly make for an interesting, nevertheless quirky linguistic study, and fewer is a word that's less used because it's got 5 letters, though it is actually a good word, right? Fewer. So I've put together lists of 5-letter words that can be both verbs and nouns in my ebook. I've got the page where we see the nouns with an asterisk next to the ones that could be also verbs. But the funny thing is that 3, 7, and 8 are all 5-letter words. Is that a coincidence? Well, take a look at these adjectives here. Larger? Okay. So we can see here in this chart that there are 5-letter words. We've got fewer there. And all these words seem to be somehow less used by non-native speakers, perhaps because they're not used to the idea, and this is just a premise, because we don't conceive as English as being an ideogram spelling system. We don't recall these as much, whereas if you're a native speaker who does have to memorize spelling, will more readily know these spellings. We've got all these common words, These ones here are less commonly verbs, and these are both verbs and nouns. This is also interesting because we place so much emphasis on what is a verb and what is a noun, when in fact in English this is all flexible depending on the syntax, where the word finds itself in the sentence, but also context. Some words are, like spell, have different meanings when it's a verb or a noun, and others are much the same. They're treated the same way, but treat, for example, is not always doesn't have the same meaning when it's a noun or as a verb, while others do. Okay, so this is all in my ebook, and I invite you to go and have a look in the links and see where you can purchase my ebook at a reasonably good price, because it's something you get for a lifetime, which includes expanding my book and improving it as I go along regularly, adding topics and concepts and aspects of English, all for the same price. So let's move on. The majority of 5-letter words can be either nouns or verbs. In fact, it is almost pointless to classify words by noun verb, since many, if not most, nouns can be made into verbs and vice versa. So I hesitate to even list those which are purely one or the other. Firstly, I've subtracted those from my list which I know to be also verbs. So when I did this exercise myself, you can see the words in orange are the ones I left out, in the sense that I didn't know that they were verbs as well as nouns. We know that these are all nouns, but the ones in orange are actually also verbs. Less commonly, of course. Here's a list of verbs I put together, and when I finished this, I realized only later that I had left out 2 words which are quite common. You have charm and spell. Why I left these out is still a mystery. Then we have the word fetch, which is, quite common as a verb. It's not one that's taught very much in the beginning for English learners, but it's a good word as a verb especially. And I didn't know that, in fact, it's also a noun. Now, of course, a lot of this is used in, jargon. But you also have, the ghost or apparition of a living person is a fetch. A trick or stratagem is a fetch. So I'm always learning for all of these things. So this is a quirky aspect of our brains, our memory, how we recall things. The similarities between the words spell and charm, I've just added these things to show you that it can be quirky. So also using this alternative way of learning new words, or lexis building, is an interesting one, because we're using different parts of our brain. We're maybe also visualizing these words as 5 letters. So, for example, you have the word love, which is 4 letters, love, and that's 4 fingers. Now, if I add the thumb, I've got glove. On my hand, I have a glove. Love with a G. So this is quirky, but as quirky as it is, we are able to remember these better. Chinese, Japanese, Koreans have this word quirky, right? And in French, it's actually original. So I'm hoping to show you my ebook is an original, and hope you can learn lots from it. keep following. You'll see there's a thread going through my series of videos. Thanks for watching.